Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. It's Tuesday in Port Charles, and emotions are at an all-time high as the day begins with Nina reeling from revelations that threaten to change her perception of family forever. Nina has always had her secrets, her regrets, and her endless tug-of-war between trying to do the right thing and struggling to resist her impulses. But when Nathan's name is brought up, when the painful echoes of what could have been come flooding back, it becomes clear that Nina can't keep burying her emotions. She feels the weight of every memory, the sting of every loss, and the guilt of choices that shaped the brother she loved and lost. Today, she finds herself at a crossroads, reflecting on the past while facing pressure from the present. Nathan was more than just her brother. He was her anchor, her reminder that not all relationships in her life were built on lies or manipulation. And now, when his name surfaces unexpectedly, Nina reacts with an intensity that no one around her can ignore. As she sits in her office, her phone still buzzing with messages from Valentine, she can't escape the sudden rush of memories of Nathan's smile, his loyalty, his determination to protect those he cared about. It's overwhelming, because Nina has often wondered what Nathan would say if he could see the woman she's become. Would he be proud, or would he be disappointed that she let herself fall back into patterns of mistrust and questionable alliances? The questions eat at her, and when someone close to her makes a casual remark about Nathan, it cuts deeper than intended. Nina tries to keep her composure, but her emotions are written all over her face. Her reaction sends ripples through the room, because it's clear that mentioning Nathan still touches a nerve that hasn't healed. She finds herself snapping, then softening, then pulling away, as if even acknowledging his name requires strength she doesn't always have. What makes this moment even more pivotal is how Nina's personal turmoil collides with Drew's next chapter. Drew has been quietly recalibrating since his release, and the mission in front of him is one that will test not just his courage but also his sense of identity. Drew has never shied away from challenges, but this new mission is layered with complications. It isn't just about right and wrong. It's about trust, strategy, and deciding how much he's willing to risk to protect the people he loves. Tuesday's update makes it clear that Drew's next move isn't going to be straightforward. He's caught between keeping his head down and playing it safe, or throwing himself into a dangerous course of action that could reshape alliances across Port Charles. For Drew, every mission comes with echoes of his past as a Navy SEAL, a man trained for danger, but also a man who has carried the scars of decisions that changed his life. This time, though, it's not a battlefield halfway across the world. It's a battle unfolding right here, against enemies cloaked in deception and schemes that touch the very heart of Port Charles. Drew knows that his choices will put him directly in the line of fire, but he also knows that stepping back isn't an option. His determination shines through, even as those closest to him worry about what this mission could cost. Back in Nina's world, her reaction to Nathan's name is not just emotional, it's revealing. She's forced to admit that the hole Nathan left behind is still gaping. She can't talk about him casually, she can't move on as if he never existed, because his memory is tied to every fragile piece of humanity she still clings to. It makes her rethink her alliances, especially with Valentine, who has pushed her to take bold steps but also stirred doubt in her conscience. Nina knows Nathan would never have tolerated half the schemes she's been tangled up in, and that knowledge is what breaks her down. Tuesday becomes the day when Nina, at least privately, admits that Nathan's influence still guides her, even if she can't bring herself to say it out loud to anyone else. Meanwhile, Drew begins laying the groundwork for his mission, and his quiet determination doesn't go unnoticed. He starts asking questions, pulling strings, and gathering pieces of information that suggest he's ready to dive headfirst into something risky. There's a subtle shift in his demeanor, less hesitation, more clarity. He isn't acting recklessly, but he's acting with urgency, as if he knows time isn't on his side. Others may doubt him, but Drew's sense of responsibility drives him forward. He has unfinished business, and Tuesday makes it crystal clear that he intends to see it through no matter what obstacles appear in his way. The contrast between Nina's struggle with her past and Drew's push into the future adds weight to the day's developments. Nina is pulled backward by the memory of Nathan, stuck between grief and guilt, while Drew is propelled forward, focused on a mission that demands every ounce of his strength. Their storylines may seem separate, but the emotional undercurrents are strangely parallel. Both are wrestling with ghosts, Nina with the ghost of her brother and the life choices that followed, Drew with the ghost of his past missions and the cost of carrying them out. The energy in Port Charles shifts as these two narratives unfold side by side, hinting that what happens next will connect them in ways no one expects. As the afternoon progresses, Nina's reaction begins to affect how others interact with her. Colleagues notice she's distracted, more volatile than usual. Valentine presses her to open up, but she pushes him away, not ready to expose the raw wound that Nathan's memory has reopened. She tries to busy herself with work, but every task feels hollow, every conversation feels forced. Eventually, she slips into solitude, replaying moments with Nathan in her mind, his laugh, his reassuring words, the way he could calm her storms. These flashbacks aren't just nostalgia, they're reminders of the standards she still wishes she could live up to. Drew, on the other hand, finds himself deep in conversation with an ally who questions whether this mission is worth the risk. Drew listens, but his resolve doesn't waver. He explains that sometimes the easy path isn't the right one, and sometimes stepping into danger is the only way to bring peace. It's a philosophy rooted in his history, but it also speaks to his character. Drew has always been about protecting others, and this mission is no exception. His words carry weight, convincing his ally to support him even if doubts remain. It's a moment that solidifies Drew's role as a leader, someone who doesn't just talk about change. Tuesday's episode reaches its peak. The emotions surrounding Nina and Drew reach a boiling point. Nina, overwhelmed, finally lets herself break down, tears streaming as she whispers Nathan's name. She doesn't want anyone to see her like this, but the truth is, she can't keep pretending she's healed. Her grief is still alive, her guilt still sharp, and her love for her brother still fierce. It's a raw and vulnerable moment that reminds viewers that beneath her often polished exterior, Nina is still deeply human, still wrestling with losses that time hasn't erased. Drew, meanwhile, begins moving pieces into place for his mission. Phone calls are made, contacts are reached, and a clear path begins to emerge. It's dangerous, yes, but it's also necessary. His determination radiates through every word, every action. The episode makes it clear that Drew isn't just preparing for a personal mission, he's preparing for a battle that could ripple across Port Charles, pulling others into the fray whether they're ready or not. The emotional weight of Tuesday's update lies in how it forces two characters to confront very different truths. Nina is reminded that no matter how much she tries to move on, Nathan's memory will always be a part of her story. Drew, on the other hand, is reminded that his sense of duty will never let him walk away from a challenge, even when it puts him at risk. Together, their journeys add depth to the tapestry of Port Charles, setting the stage for conflicts, alliances, and revelations that promise to keep unfolding in the days ahead. By the time the day ends, Nina is left sitting alone, staring at a photo of Nathan, whispering words she'll never get to say to him again. Drew is left standing firm, ready to step into the unknown, carrying the weight of his mission on his shoulders. And the audience is left wondering just how these threads will intertwine, what consequences will follow, and how long secrets can be kept before the truth explodes. Tuesday's episode isn't just another day in Port Charles. It's a turning point, one that blends grief, determination, and the relentless march of destiny. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for all of your updates.